All right, let's bring in now Republican Senator from Tennessee who is on the Foreign Relations Committee. He's also the former U.S. Ambassador to Japan, Senator Bill Hagerty. Thank you for being with us, Senator.
John Shannon, good to be with you tonight.
Well, give us your thoughts. You're going to head back to Washington this week. We've already seen some pretty stiff resistance from Democrats, the type of resistance you'd expect. One thing, given what we've learned out of the situation in Texas, there's also talk that there might be a similar situation in Cincinnati, Ohio. It seems absurd, I think, to a lot of Americans that Democrats would still be standing in the way of fully funding the Department of Homeland Security.
I think that absurdity is being put to the test right now. All of America can see that the Democrats are simply playing politics here at a time where we need to be protecting the homeland. If you look back no further than Joe Biden's administration, 1,500 Iranians were apprehended trying to enter our country at the southern border. The Bidens allowed over half of them into the country. We don't know where they are. These people are unvetted. The consequence of this, it's hard to say, but the concern is that there certainly could be sleeper cells or a lone wolf activity. You don't know, but we need our very best on the ground. We need, our forces fully funded here domestically, and the Department of Homeland Security should not be suffering in this way. Again, the Democrats are just playing politics with this. They're supposedly resisting ICE activity. Well, ICE has been fully funded since last year. What they're doing, though, is they're keeping TSA, the Coast Guard, Secret Service from getting paychecks. The men and women that are doing these jobs are heroic. They need to be fully funded. They need to get their paychecks, and the Democrats need to stop playing politics.
And Senator, do you feel like the threat net level needs to officially, be risen? Because Akash Patel, as we came to air, pushed out a statement saying the FBI is on this case out of Austin. They'll continue to pursue any potential sleeper cells that may be popping up and posing a threat to Americans here on U.S. soil. Your thoughts on going ahead and officially raising the threat level so that Americans, by and large, across the country, understand that the threat could be very real?
Shannon, I do believe the concerns of the threat are significant, but the last thing I'm going to do is get in front of Cash, in front of our authorities, who are the ones that have the most relevant, most current information. It's their call to make. The last thing they need is for me to get on television and start to prognosticate about what it ought to be. Let them do their jobs. But I'd say this, we need to fully fund everybody on the ground so that they are doing their jobs and that the American public can demonstrate that we do support them.
Yeah, and Senator, there's going to be a vote this week, apparently. Democrats want a vote on President Trump's war powers, which, again, seems like a reflexive move for political purposes, doesn't reflect the reality of the situation. Indeed. We've all read the Constitution. We understand how this works. President Trump is absolutely entitled to conduct an operation like this. There's a point at which, the frustration has got to be mounting for you. Don't you think they should shift their tone a little bit and focus on how they can assist President Trump in making sure what is currently happening in Iran is a success?
Certainly, John, you're exactly right. And that's been consistent with my public statements since this broke. This is a time for Americans to come together. We need to lock arms here as a nation and support the fact that we're taking out a deadly regime, one that since 1979 has been basically pushing terror out throughout the region. They've got the blood of Americans on their hands going all the way back. Think back to the early 1980s, the Marine barracks in Beirut that was taken out. Over 200 of our Marines killed in that activity. Think about the USS Cole. Think no further than October of 2023 when we saw Iran-backed Hamas come in and kill 1,200 innocent people, 40 American citizens in that group. What we're doing right now is taking out a regime at its most vulnerable point. I would hate to step back and tell my children or grandchildren that when we had the opportunity to do this, to end terror and this largest state sponsor of terror in the world, that we failed to do so. President Trump saw this opportunity. I think the rest of the world sees it too. Look at the number of allies that are coming to our aid and support right now. No one's coming to Iran's support. This is something that we need to lock arms together here in the United States. My Democrat colleagues need to stop the politics, stop playing politics. Let's fully fund DHS and let's support the administration in this activity.
Nothing speaks louder than when you see Iranian Americans taking to the streets. We saw it in New York City earlier today and throughout the weekend in Los Angeles as well, and frankly around the world. Iranian Americans, at least in this country, they are celebrating this move and celebrating and the promise of liberation, frankly.
Shannon, that is a great point. I talked to an Iranian friend of mine just a little while ago in New York City. I think the entire Iranian population here in the United States, a great diaspora, frankly, that happened since the 1970s, are thrilled to see the possibility for freedom back in their country. And again, President Trump has made this clear. He has not waged war on Iran, and this gets back to the absurdity of what's probably going to take place from the Democrats this coming week. What he's done is something very surgical, very targeted, that has to do with our own security as a nation, but it also presents an opportunity for the Iranian people to actually take their country back. The majority of them want to take their country back. People are celebrating in the streets right now in Iran and certainly here in America.
And what is the United States' role in the transition period? How actively can we be involved? I don't think anybody, no one, in fact, including Vice President J.D. Vance, was very clear about that. No one is pushing for U.S. boots on the ground in Iran. What is exactly our role, Senator, in helping the transition from what they have now to a democratic form of government?
I think President Trump has been clear that we are on the side of the Iranian people. He promised them that we'd be there. We have now put the Iranian people in a position to take their country back. I would just point this simple fact out, John, and that is that our intelligence throughout this operation has been exquisite. The intelligence that we've had ourselves, the intelligence that we've shared with the Israelis and the IDF. Our team knows a lot about what's happening in that country, and I think that they have got very high-level contacts to be able to execute with the level of precision that they have. So I have every confidence that the United States knows the levers. This is going to be a challenging situation, but President Trump is going to continue to maintain maximum pressure. I'll also point this out. The Iranians have lost all control of their airwaves. What's going to happen is that the Israeli Air Force is going to be able to go in and consistently take out these targets. Not only the launch capacity, but also the capacity to make these weapons, these ballistic weapons that have been used to threaten not only neighbors in the region, but they are moving in a direction where they could actually threaten our homeland here in the United States. And I'll also mention this. Operation Midnight Hammer was a complete success in terms of taking out the nuclear capabilities of Iran. But they, again, have begun to take steps back toward recreating that nuclear capability. President Trump could not have been more clear. That is coming to an end. We will never allow them to possess a nuclear weapon. This operation will make certain that that never happens.
Yeah, and Russia and China, of course, are watching another country that uses their air defense systems fail completely to protect their most vital assets, including the Ayatollah. They cannot be too comfortable right now in this moment. Senator Bill Hagerty, thank you so much for being with us tonight, sir. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you both.